Diary. I think I love different. As a child, I would be put to sleep while being narrated tales of love between a man and a woman. Love bloomed as the perfect masculine prince would save the perfect feminine princess. The prince would be tall, with a good physique, tan, handsome, have a chiseled jawline and sharp nose with deep, dark eyes. His hair would fall messily over his head, and his hands almost twice the size the hands of the princess as they would come into contact. The princess would be shorter than the prince, and her body would be just right enough to be encircled by the broad chest of the prince. She would be the fairest maiden the town has ever seen, and that in itself would make her the most beautiful, with additional bonuses of rosy cheeks and red lips. Her eyes would mostly be shades of light hues, but not lighter than her skin, and her hair would resemble the sunlight. Her bosom visible enough to draw all the men in, but her waist small enough to be claimed by just one. And although a princess she would be one without an opinion, or an opinion appealing to the male psyche. Love would come as the poor and helpless maiden would be rescued from her cruel fate by the rich and powerful lad. Love would come as the maiden's sweet melody would supposedly lure the one owning a deep voice and put him to sleep. Love would come as they would devote themselves to each other, but he would devote a little less. And mostly, love would come when she would be desired by all, but deflowered by none. But dear diary, I do not quite like that. I love fairy tales, I've always did, but this narrative does not entice me. It used to as a child and as a teen when the books and folks would be validating my interests and encouraging my acts of being molded into the perfect wife for my yet to appear husband. I would throw my head back and giggle when people would tell me that I'm doing it right. I wasn't mature enough to fathom the cycle of generational trauma that they were getting me into until I realized I didn't want any part in it. If anything at all, I wanted to break free. I was suffocated and wanted to open my eyes to a world where people love differently from the traditional fairy tales, but in normal ways like any normal human would, where people love people for being themselves without being confined or conforming to set norms of loving decided by some ancient aliens when mankind came into being. For dear diary, I do love the prince in the fairy tale, but I also love the princess. And it does not only stop there. In fact, it just starts. I do love the tall, dark, muscular, and handsome lad, and the short, fair, slim, beautiful maiden. But I also love the side characters. I think they are special enough to have their own fairy tales carved and narrated to the masses, like main characters. Characters that are feminine and masculine, short and tall, dark and pale, and shades in between, slim and round, abled and specially abled, opinionated and laid back, rich and poor, intelligent and artistic, virgin and non virgin, gender confirming and non confirming, intersex and all else. As long as the character is a human with a story of their own, I am capable of loving them if I find them pretty and the stars act in our favor. Love shall bloom for me when I like the way they laugh or when their pupils dilate upon witnessing something. Love shall bloom for me when they are kind and understanding and know how to love right. Love shall bloom for us when they will accept me just the way I will accept them. Love shall bloom for us when we'll learn to love every small detail about each other. Love shall bloom for us when we'll love without conforming and build a home in one another. Dear diary, will I ever find love?